So apparently, what is being suggested is this apparent dream of separation, the exploration of the belief in a separate self and its profound impact on human suffering. This apparent examination or this suggestion, the inherent paradox within the seeker's dilemma, where the pursuit of resolution perpetuates the sense of separation. Simply seeking what already is perpetuates a loop of seeking. Apparently, traditional approaches such as meditation, self-inquiry, as methods of escaping the illusion of separation, which is, by the way, really popular, expresses that there's the limitations of conceptual communication and emphasizes the transformative power of recognizing this energetic communication of simply just this. So the notions of enlightenment and liberation, offering insights, the fundamental nature of thisness is beyond the dream of separation. Apparently, the pervasive belief of the separate self and its consequences on the apparent human experience. Apparently, the concept of dream of separation, wherein apparent individuals perceive themselves as distinct entities with free will and choice, which creates the narrative of suffering, inadequacy, and longing for escape or resolution that characterizes the dreamer's apparent journey. But there is no journey, since there's no seeker that started a journey. What's being illuminated is this is-NESS becomes apparent through the relinquishment of the illusion of separateness rather than through any gained knowledge or attainment. What is already cannot be attained since it is not of knowledge or even self-inquiry. So apparently the seeker's energy, driven by this illusory seeking, relentlessly seeking something knowable and attainable, is without any purpose, without any meaning. The futility of any personal search to overcome separation or this dream of separation or find what is already present becomes evident. So the illusory nature of thisness or I am and its futile efforts to discover something for itself prevents the recognition of the unrecognizable freedom that this is-NESS is already. It's not about personal effort. So the mind cannot get rid of the mind. So inquiring about the mind just creates the assertion that there is a mind. Oh, sorry, just a second. Let me just finish. I'm going to answer the, there's a couple of questions already. Let me answer the, let me finish this, this introduction first. Thank you. So seemingly a perspective that is rooted in illusory separation may suggest that personal efforts such as awareness, consciousness, meditation, self-inquiry, or being present can lead to the end of this dream of separation. But this is to refute that notion, asserting that no experience, no realization, or process of becoming can dissolve the illusory experience of real separation. So the seeker, the I am, the character, whatever you might want to call it, is inherently trapped in a dream of personal process. Missing this unrecognizable is-NESS, this. The infinite hello, the infinite this, the infinite annyeonghaseyo, the infinite kumusta ka, the infinite hi. Without an opposite though, it does not reply back, it's just this. So the recognition that there was never a separate personal identity is not recognized by a personal separate identity. You will never recognize it because there's no you to recognize. It's just this. It's not about recognizing this, because recognizing this creates this illusion that there is a separate this. So the culmination of seeking is not the fulfillment of the need for answers, because there's no answers. It does not satisfy any questions, because those questions does not really have an answer. So this meeting does not have any purpose. There's going to be some questions and answers and realizations and acknowledgement, the perpetual I know this, but you will never know this, because this is not about you. You are not being communicated. You're not being addressed. This isness is already what is. There is no personal separation aside from maintaining that there is a thought or a felt sense of separation. And the quest for this wholeness, for this unicity, this oneness, whatever seemingly is the new flavor of the word, flavor of the month word, is just a game. It's a game of words of what already is unrecognizable freedom. What is already this unattainable liberation. But it's not a separate liberation that someone has a liberation. This liberation is all liberation, unconditional liberation. It's not about getting to it. It's not about acknowledging it. It's not about inquiring it. It's already the case. So there's nothing beyond seeking, because there's no prior to seeking. It's just what is. There's no unraveling the illusion, because there's no illusion in the first place. So this unfathomable stillness is already what it is. It cannot be observed. It cannot be known. It cannot be practiced. So this expression is basically expressing that there's no one to express this to, because this is the inexpressible. This is the inexpressible. It's just simply what is. There is no end of awakening. There's no end of seeking. Those are just words as markers to express that, oh, it's just this. Oh, it's just whatever it is. But there's no one recognizing it, because it already is simply the case. So no personal effort, no maintenance of effort, no getting rid of efforts, because there's nothing wrong or right about personal effort, because there's no personal effort. There is no free will or choice to get you there. There's no choosing that if I put in 1,000,000 hours of inquiry and meditation, that I will have this recognition, or that any kind of listening to mindless talks about thisness will lead into a, now that I've reached my 157th hour of listening to this character named Emerson, that there's no more Emerson. It's not about a timed personal experience. This is the only kind of communication that basically expresses that you don't need to listen to this. There's no need to figure out what's being said here, because it's always going to come to a moot point. There's no debating this. There's no trying to, wrestle with this paradox, because the paradox is that there is no paradox. The dream is that there's no dream. The illusion that there's no illusion. There's simply what is already appearing as it is. It's simply this, simply not two. Just this. It doesn't have to be radical and uncompromising, because those are just ideas of this again. So any efforts to discover something that is unrecognizable or any recognition of trying to get to something that doesn't have any position is also what is. So again, there's nothing wrong or right on trying to recognize this or trying to get this. But again, what's being asserted here, what's being expressed, what's being elucidated, it already is the case. There's nothing needed. There's nothing needed. There is nothing needed. It already is the case. Okay, questions. I have a couple of questions. Not bad for a day of allergy. Although my voice is going. If seemingly this character disappears from the screen, I took some. It simply is what is. Question, sorry. Often, hi Emerson, often it is described that this is a dream. Who is dreaming? There is no dreamer because everything is a dream. Apparently, again, what was being expressed there in that introduction, it already is the case. So even the idea of a dream, the idea of separation, the idea of seeking are just all ideas. When all of the curtains are pulled, there are no curtains to be pulled. When all the veils are lifted, it simply is what is, but there's no veils to be lifted. There's no dream to wake up to. There's no realization again. It is already the case. There's no need to figure out what I'm talking about. It is the case already. Next question. Sorry, I can't read that. You don't really talk about love. How come? There's really no choice in what's being expressed here. Seemingly, using the word love creates this idea that there is something that's being talked about, like a personal idea of what love is, which is usually the case when the word love is expressed. There are conditions in what's being heard, although there's no one hearing it. So using the words like is-ness or thisness or what is-ness, or just seems to clarify that there's nothing to know or there's nothing to unknow. It is simply the case. But thank you. And if you would like to ask a question, you can raise your hand or you can just, I can't see properly. So maybe if you raise your hand, it'll be better.
Emerson.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
That was a great intro. Oh,
thank
wow.
you.
Can't wait for the recording. That was
Oh,
great.
thank you.
And thanks for showing up despite
you.
your allergies. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That was nice. Oh, really? A lot of people would have copped out of it. Oh, what was I just going to say? Shit. Oh, God. I don't believe I can't remember what I had to say. Oh, okay. Did you say kama stew?
I'm not sure what I said.
In the intro?
Oh. It's just different language. You know, annyeonghaseyo is Korean.
Yeah, well,
Kumusta?
no, I was asking
Filipino.
for Tagalog.
Tagalog. Yeah.
Oh, say it again. I didn't hear it.
Kumusta?
Kamusta. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I said. Kamusta. You acted like, okay, forget about it. Kamusta. Okay.
I'm not here.
Right.
So
and I'm not here either.
there you go.
No. All right. So never mind. It might sound silly, and maybe I better not ask that. All right, I'll think about it. I don't want to just sound like a jerk, like
no worries.
Usual. Okay, bye.
Is that better? Sorry. Can you guys hear me? Yeah.
Hey, Emerson.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey, what's up? You know how you can't have one thing without the other. You know, the polarity thing.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like,
Seemingly, of course.
right, yeah, of course. But like the inner thoughts and stuff, I mean, a lot of people will go with that. They'll be like, oh yeah, I could see that I don't create my own thoughts. You know, they just kind of like go with it, but then they can't get behind, like, I'm doing this and I, you know, whatever, I'm driving a car, it's me. Whatever, that's still what is. But it's just kind of funny because those inner thoughts and like the outer expression is really just the same thing. You know, no one's doing any of it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that outer
It's the same
expression.
nothing, really.
Yeah, it's just so weird. I don't know.
Yet there's this idea that is inner, that is outer, that one idea is more than the other, but all ideas are equally empty.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's no inner, there's no outer, there's no quiet, there's no silence. All of these are ideas. There's no inner voice, there's no outer voice. It's just simply what is. And again, the separation, or that seeming concept that there is a separation, is seemingly just a creation by the mind for the mind to maintain the mind, although there's no mind. So it's all mindless, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it's like at a certain point, it's just like, oh well, who cares? It's unknowing. It's unknowable. It's like, you know, there's nothing, or there's no one that would be able to know, you know,
Yes.
because it's just this, and then it's not about any of the particulars, you know, it's just like about everything, about just nothing, just being everything. I don't know. Sorry. I'm in the blissed out stage. No, I'm kidding. It's really, really high today.
Isn't it nice? Just like all of these words just popping out of nowhere. And then the ideas that are coming seemingly has this meaning and purpose. And they're really none of that. The moment that it seemingly comes, it goes, comes and goes. But there's not even coming or going. It's just,
hey, it's just like it's just always like it's always like whatever it is, whatever seems to be happening, just like, oh my God, you know, it's like, ugh, but it's still this, you know. I don't know. Oh my gosh, I love it. I love listening to you guys talk. And it's so fun. It's just okay.
Thank you. Ooh, that allergy pills is kicking in now. Something happened this morning. There's a question here. There was nothing, no one, just all crystal clear. Thoughts, feelings, memories, but completely nothing. What the fuck? There is absolutely nothing. Yes, simply, and it's even hard to talk about that, right? When there is just a clearing, although there's no one that was not clear, because there's no one to be clear or not to clear. When there's just this, it's just this. Absolutely nothing, but also absolutely everything. But there's not even an absolute, it's just this. And what this is, all encompassing nothing. What this is, the never ending nothing. What this is cannot even be called nothing, because that's just another idea. It's the absolute wow. Yes. Hey, Mark.
Hey,
What's up?
what's up? So is doubt just doubt or just more thoughts, or
Doubt
what
is
is
just
doubt?
it's just an appearance. It's just another appearance. Doubt can appear, but when doubt seems to appear, it's just simply backed by thoughts. It's just a thought maintaining a thought that creates a doubt to maintain a thought about a doubt. Something about, but it's nothing really about anything. A doubt doesn't even last. It's just an appearance.
Yeah, because it seems like I can, if I pay or if I put too much attention or focus on like all of these words, it just like it just gets confusing, I guess. I don't
It
know.
does. It does. As I said in
Because
the
I
intro,
sort of,
there's
yeah.
nothing that this is not really communicating to you. This is just it's like a freestyle expression that it cannot be expressed. it's like a rap that you'll never understand, because what's being expressed is just beyond comprehension, right? It's all of this dream of separation, end of separation, end of seeking, never seeking. It's all just this swirling of words that can either land or not land, but it doesn't land for anyone, or does not land for anyone, because it's just basically expressing that this is already the unthinkable. This is already the unspeakable. This is already the unknowable. And then there's a seeming kind of like, a seeming grasping. What's that unknowable? Let me think about the unthinkable. See how fast it kind of like processes something that cannot be processed. It cannot be comprehended, but let me comprehend the incomprehensible. Let me figure out the unfigure-outable. Let me unravel the mystery. And then there's going to be, go ahead.
But it seems like there can still be, I guess, like an apparent journey, like layers falling off, like sort of seeing through, okay, there is no self, and then seeing.
Well, in this dream of separation, the apparent, we can only really talk about this in time. So there's going to be an apparent, seeking, an apparent longing, an apparent figuring out, but what's being expressed is this timelessness. But this timelessness, it cannot be figured out in time. But since this conversation is appearing in time, how can it get there to the timeless then when it's always timeless? So the illusion of separation exists in time. So the dream of separation is time. So what's being expressed is that there is no time. It's just timelessness. Although there's an appearance of time, this is just timeless. So this is really silence that's seemingly speaking to one another, trying to figure out what this is through time. So when time is collapsed, it's just this timelessness. Words coming out of nowhere, eyes blinking, Daggy going like this. It's just what is. And Casey, this is not a cult.
It's worse than that. It's like a daycare gone wrong. Age don't matter.
So it's not in the comprehension, it's not in the understanding, it does not appear in time, although everything is already what is. So whatever you think about and cannot think about is already it. But it's not about your personal understanding of it or your personal grasping or personal doubts. So this is the impersonal appearing as personal, the timeless appearing as time, the unknowable appearing as knowing. If you put both together, you can't comprehend it. It evaporates the you.
Yeah.
Because the you can only take a position of this and that. So what's being expressed is that this is this. It's always this. This and that is just this. So even doubt is this. But from the personal perspective, well, I don't think that this is this. That's the doubt. But that's also this. So it can only navigate through this idea or notion that I am figuring out something or I am doubting something. The moment that there's this vast, unknowable silence, stillness, right? The moment that the thought, the perception cuts through that stillness, it divides what cannot be divided. But the division is a dream. It doesn't happen. It's an illusion. It cannot be divided. So no matter how much you doubt it, no matter how much you accept it, no matter how much you recognize it, the acceptance and the rejection are just separateness, the idea of separateness. Even if you're really sure, the moment that there's this limitless still lake, the moment that the boat of I sails through it, it creates these ripples, these ideas of separation. But the stillness of this lake is always what is. It doesn't matter how many boats are launched, how many inquiries are done, how much practicing is done, because it already is this stillness. Not the idea of stillness, not the personal identification of what stillness is, but stillness as it is. Not a state, not an understanding. It's just this.
And any new thought that comes up is also just that.
Yes. Again, when there's no more separation from this thought and that thought, and it's just what is, then it doesn't matter what division may appear, what notion, what understanding, what doubt might show up, because it always what is. It doesn't need to be recognized. The doubt doesn't have to be appeased, because that's also it. It's not about solving what the doubt is or trying to convince you, because there's no you to convince. So whatever appears, it's it. Doubt, acceptance, rejection. That's it. That's it. But there's no one controlling that. So I'm not going to tell you, well, if you come into the middle and focus on the third eye chakra and go to the depths of your longing and find the sea of stillness in your heart, which is also what is, but it does not need any instructions. It's simply the case already. So whatever seems to appear, any movement, any processing, there's nothing wrong or right about that. This is not about correcting anything. Good. That's also it. And that's it. And that's it. Thank you. Oh, hi, Sid. Hello.
Emerson, good to
How are
see
you?
you
Good to see you
again.
too.
I'm good. appreciated our last conversation. I got some more for you. You ready to play?
Of course. Bring it on.
Bring it on. And so everything is this, and just what you were just having in this last conversation about the, the thoughts that arise, difficult. It's all this. In how it moves here, there's a sense of, I guess, what about healing? What about when we're working with people who have remnants of trauma and have difficulties and contractions still in their system? How do you see the role of healing in this understanding?
That's also it. There's nothing wrong or right about healing. It's also what is. It's not about taking a position that's irrelevant or relevant, because irrelevant or relevant is also what is.
It's like,
there's no one choosing to heal or not to heal anyway, or to be a healer or not to be a healer. It simply is what is.
And so what about this? Because it's tricky when I'm working with people,
yeah,
right? Because there's the possibility of going to the clear seeing, which is what you're representing, where it's like everything is this. There is really everything, even in the sense of the difficulties and prominence and problems and the trauma remnants. There's perfection in what is. It's all the beauty of what is, right? And then there's that, but then there's also then what I get hit by is like, we don't want to bypass this. We need to. We want them to be able to heal the difficulties that are still in their system. How do you, when you're working with someone, the choice? There's like a choice in each moment. I grapple. I go back and forth with this. It's like going directly to, it's all the perfection of what is, and helping them see that, or helping them go into the difficulties, into the pain, into the cave. How do you discern that with people? What if there's no one
choosing on any of this? If it's just simply unfolding as it is, including you and the subject and object are both illusions. So if there is a seeming kind of like trying to get into that caverns and caves of suffering and everything, it's also what is.
Let's say you were training. Let's say you were training someone. You were teaching helping them become, to be able to do what you're doing, and it's all innocence. It's beautiful that someone just said it's all innocence. It's like, because again, for a lot of people, what obscures this beauty, which you're able to see, what obscures it is, the only thing that obscures it are these contractions, right? The contractions, or these identifications, or those resistances. And do you train somebody to walk people, like go into the caves with them, or do you train them to just stop,
my training
just to see the truth?
About 20 grand for 300 hours. It's next week. I'm just joking. Next
week. Okay.
This cannot be trained. It cannot be what already it is. Simply what's being expressed here is just this directness. It's just direct. This is just this directness. And for example, if somebody, and then I'll tell you about real situations, I have people that call me and basically say that I am suicidal and I'm going to hurt myself or something. What I usually do is, this is what I do. When you are committed to a hospital, you can talk to me as much as you can. Get to a safe place. It's not bypassing. It's not like there's no one there and everything. This is not about therapy. What's being expressed here, and there's and the what is-ness is whatever it is. So if therapy seems to be happening over there, that's also
what if it's not that extreme, Emerson? What if it's not the suicidal, but what if it's just, I was abused as a child and I'm having difficulties with this, that you hear from someone. Do you go into that with them, or do you just help them see the perfection of what is? It's
funny, right? Because you know what, when there is usually a trauma kind of seeking, kind of like, or the relief of trauma, they usually go to trauma specialists. It doesn't really, there's really no, I usually will say, if you would like to talk about trauma, maybe you can talk to Sid. There's nothing wrong about that.
I hope you're not hearing any heaviness or judgment in this. It's
no,
just a delightful celebration being with you in this.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah,
Again, there's no position here, right? There's nothing wrong or right about what is already. So in the dream, if there is seemingly kind of like, there's this enjoyment of what seems to be happening, of appearing as helping others, but what this is not any position. There's just this directness here that it simply is already, whatever it is.
wait. But this, what you just said.
Mhm.
Tell me what's happening today. Like we're all with you. And as far as like, because this is where I get mixed up as far as helping others and
Yeah.
serving and supporting. And I'm hearing it's different in the flavor of, for you, follow the manual, someone said. What are you
It's
doing
on chapter
today?
4, page 56.
What is this? What are we doing? What is this gathering?
This is just an illumination that nothing is needed. This is an illumination that this apparent appearance is just what is. It's a relief. It's the relief that it already is the case. It's the full stop of expressing that whatever it is already what it is. And it cannot really be expressed in words. Some express that this is just an expression of this boundless energy that does not need any boundaries.
But I just want to go into that just for a moment.
Sure.
It's because it's a big deal what you're saying there. For those, I mean, I'm guessing a lot of the folks here are interested in non-dual awakening and to fully realizing and embodying the truth of what we are. And what I get in what you're saying is that this gathering, it's just to I know Sid from a different group, someone says. But it's I whoever that is. But it's that this is it's like, but that it's a celebration that you already are home, that what you're looking for is your true nature is here. You are already here. There's nothing to do. There's no place to go. Is that what we're saying? We're almost saying, like, stop this, like the apogee, stop the spiritual journey. You are this. Just like look in the mirror and see what you are, enjoy it, and then laugh with me and celebrate what's here. How about that?
Not even that.
Not even that. What you got?
But that's also it. It's just in this directness, if every single thought is dropped, every single concept, every single teacher that's celebrated, and it's just this, without words, without meaning, without any interpretation, it's just simply as it is, without anything, without any streamers, or without any kind of like decorations. The simplicity of what is enough.
But the simplicity of what is, when you say it is, this isness is, it's like this, it's the isness. You are the fullness, you are the beauty, you are
But
the
there's
perfection,
no you.
You are it. Right,
No,
of course, there is no separation in this. This is
Yeah.
the celebration of what is. Got it. We got someone gave us a heart on that, a thumbs up. I think we're there, Emerson. Thank you for playing with me today. I enjoyed
We were
that.
never there. Thank you, Sid. Thank you. Hey, Steve.
Hi, Emerson.
Hello.
So this is always happening,
Not even that.
but it's never happened before.
Not even that. It always is, and what is not but cannot be thought about, even when it's thought of. It is the incomprehensible, even if comprehension appears to comprehend something that cannot be comprehended. And it's not trying to create this elite, knowing, because there's really nothing. So when all of the windows are open, all the shadows are just this. It's the seeing that there's a play of light, but there's no players. It's the contrasting, but there's really no contrasts. It's the opposition, but there's no opposites. It's the separateness, but there's no separate. So it's the thinking and the unthinkable. It's the sameness in everything. It's the explosion and it's the non-explosion. So there's seemingly a tendency to do this or that, What's being expressed is that's throwing everything up, and it's just this. Nothing. It cannot be comprehended, even if it's trying, even if it tries to comprehend it. Trying to comprehend it and not comprehending it is the same. It's the sameness and everything. It's the blankness and everything. It's the emptiness and everything. It's the dissolution of that idea that there's something to attain or something to know. So it's almost like the natural giving up of something that cannot. It's the retirement. It's seeing that the loop is looping and there's no one in the loop.
That could make you loopy.
Very, very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's like always been effortless, but it's just been like a thought that there was a lot of effort before. Not there actually, it's always been effortless actually. Yeah.
The effortless effort that no one is efforting is just this. Just simply no effort. It's even if effort is happening, there's also no efforting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No difference. Movement, no movement is just this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing how those words are like free flowing, like especially, here there's like so much appreciation for you, Emerson. The way you're speaking is just like bam, 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 like Kalashnikov, all these words shooting out, or rather like just free flowing. And it's like, it's totally beyond the mind. And sometimes it's like funny how it's like some people you can see like how they are trying to grasp it like with the mind, but the mind is always like secondary. It's just not possible. And this is like energetic, but it's like amazing. Just like no judgment. Yeah. This is just like shooting out the words, and there is like no judgment, how it is received, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's just this beautiful, unconditional is-ness, right? Words, no words, same.
Yeah.
Understanding, not understanding, same.
No difference.
No difference whatsoever. So there's this ease-ness. You're like, okay, it's almost like someone was talking to me a couple of days ago about coming to these meetings, because I did the Friday one, and basically said it's like there's nothing that's needed, even if it seems that coming to the meeting is needed, that's also not needed. So any movement is not judged anymore, or non-movement is not judgment. So the judge and the prosecutor is gone, right? It's just
it's like so beautiful, such a freedom, from this judgment is like so heavy, and this fear of judgment in this apparent individual also is like there is always this fear, how am I being perceived, or so heavy, such a heaviness.
When I was this is when I was a teacher, I've always thought that I have the right answers, that I have the solution, that I have.
I can feel the heaviness in that.
It was so heavy. So when this is just this no position whatsoever, if that seems to be what is, that's also what is. If that seems to be appearing, that's also what is. So what, right? It's just the joy of not knowing. It doesn't have
the bondage of knowing. This is like liberation from the bondage of knowing.
It is.
But if there is knowing, it's like also it is not judged.
It's just what is, right? So there is no more prior and post, right? No kind of like saying that, did I say the right thing? Did I offend someone? It's just what is. Yeah. It's just what is.
I love you, Emerson. Really, I love you.
There's a bunch of questions here. There is a lot actually. Just a moment here. Something happened that I read that already. Sorry. All that I can think of the word clear, nothing. Yeah. The word, so sorry. Casey goes, this is the impersonal appearing as personal. Beautiful. Hi, Emerson. Can you speak about emotional turmoil? There's this holding on to emotion that can happen. Yet recently, sorry, there, there's been upset and tears quickly followed by extreme happiness, followed by depression and tears in a short time. It seems to be what's appearing when there's this seeming seeing, although there's no one seeing beyond or behind. Everything is just a free flow of seeming, appearances of happiness, appearance of tears and everything. When there's no circling back to what seems to be appearing, there seems to be a cessation of what seems to be, looping. When there is no cause and effect, when there's no kind of like attaching into ideas of what should happen and everything, there's just this is-ness, right? If you would like to talk to me more about that, please contact me. I'm not going to mention the name because it's a direct message. It's when there is almost kind of like when there is a dropping of a lot of belief system, there seems to be a spark of happiness followed by a grieving of what was believed before. Seemingly in the story of the crashing of all belief system and ideologies and knowing, there's this emptiness that there is just no cause for joy. And at the same time, there's no cause for pain. It's just the causeless appearing as a cause. And it's just quite fascinating. But I know what you're talking about. It's quite fascinating that there's just this bursts of seemingly personal, but it becomes impersonal. It's hard to put it. It's not about a state. It's not about a position. It's just what is appearing as it is. So when there was this seeming dropping away, there was a lot of laughing and crying here, laughing for no reason and crying for no reason. And then a shaking of the apparent shaking, like, what the hell? It's just nothing sticks anymore. So there's this empty, it's like, I call it like a brand new Teflon ceramic pan that the eggs don't stick anymore. No matter what's being fried there, it just glides away. Like a water off a duck's back. It just simply, it appears to, so there's sadness and it's no sadness. Happiness and there's no happiness. Then who is it happening to? Okay, next question. Rosa goes, pure in a known perfection already. Boom. Antonia goes, wonderful. So much energy here these days. Non-stop creativity. Lots of angry thoughts, but they don't matter at all. There's no one here. It's all just happening. Yeah, that's what it is too, because there's no more filter, so to speak, right? There's no more trying to second guessing. So there's a burst. I've mentioned this before. Sometimes I play piano nonstop or go dancing in my bedroom for no reason at all, because there's no one watching anymore. There's no one saying that it's good or bad. It's just what is. So creativity seems to appear as this is-ness. It's all innocence. Yes. There is no helper, no healer, identification of a special me who knows that the other needs was a big bubble to pop here. Yes. There was this idea before that there was this teacher and there was this student, that there was this seeker and there's this helper. And when it's seen that it's just all an appearance, so there's just this almost uneasiness that there's nothing that can be done, which is just this pure sincerity. That's already what is. And that sincerity is just what this is. That there's no solution, there's no problem. It's just seen as the same. Even if that means that, the person that is seeking does whatever, it just sees everything as innocence. And there's this equanimity. There's no one that has the answer. There's no one that has to be given the answer, because there are really no answers and questions. It's just what is. So when there's just this, simply this, there's just this relief. One day the stories no longer believe that the trauma is not more. Until then, it feels real and is simply this. Thank you so much, Leela. That's beautiful. The job here in psychotherapy, I still show up on up as bills need paying, but John ain't there. Yes, thank you. Follow the manual. Whose trauma is it? Said it's not that you. Okay. Oh, thank you, Eliana. Malena, there's so heart. Perfect. Hey, Sid. Sid is back.
Hey,
Hi.
hi. I got another question.
Please.
It's like there's such an enjoyment of the love and spaciousness in which you speak of this, the is-NESS. And what I'm curious about is, and what here it goes in and out of, it's a sense of, is it almost like, a painting or a screen that you're part of, and everyone is made of the same, and there just is no separation, and so it doesn't individualize anymore in the form of Emerson. The awareness is just the everyone, the is-NESS of that.
It's just seen as it is. That this is always this, that this is all the same. And then thoughts may come and go and everything, but that's also emptiness. So this is just basically emptiness speaking to emptiness. Emptiness seeing emptiness. And again, that's such a loaded word too. Let's just say that this is cinnamon roll. Seeing everything is cinnamon roll. It's just the sameness and the noneness in everything. It's the same and nothing.
So here's the question, because to be honest, there's some concern about going further with this system of where this individual have said, in this way, like, let's say, like, I really value partnership. There's a lot of enjoyment of being with a partner, being with in a relationship. Is there still the capacity of finding polarity, like that kind of relational polarity with a partner in the space of everything is this? Because I've lost it sometimes in that, and that's one of the concerns.
There is nothing really different than this, aside from the thought that there might be something different. So what's being expressed is that if there is a character that is loving and in relationship, and that's also what is. But there's just this contentment here. Contentment, whether having a partner or having no partner. Because there's no one controlling that. There's no one choosing to have a partner or not, or to be with a partner. It's the same. So there's contentment no matter what is. There's peace. There's this undeniable peace that cannot be thought about, of no matter what it is. And that peace can be ignored or seen. But there's no one ignoring, there's no one seeing. So the ignoring and the seeing is the same. So having a partner not, or being with a partner, not there are no opposites, basically. It's the yes to whatever it is. The yes without a no.
And does it, part of the framework that I play in is kind of, we play with sometimes with parts work, with different aspects of the personality that are all, but they're all kind of lacking, wanting in that. But then we can see the impersonalness of it. And when Emerson speaks of there's no one choosing, how does he, when he focuses in on, when there's a focusing in on a choice that's being made, we'll call on Sid now. Where does it track to, that sense of the movement?
So movement is just basically like a neurosis.
Yeah, it's bad.
So there's this seeming movement, right? Which is just this neurotic tendency basically to this or that, this or that. When it's seen that this movement is also stillness, it's just stillness, then everything that is this or that is just this. So having a relationship, no relationship, fear of this, no fear of this, is just this. So this is the seeming, the neurosis seems to unravel as just this is-ness. You're like, there's no one doing this. There's no one choosing to have a relationship, or no, it's a completion. It's not the lack, right? So this is basically the the wholeness of what seems to be appearing. It's the there's, although there's no one accepting, it's like the radical acceptance of what is. And then this is not about a depersonalization, because there's no person in the first place, right? So the character, if the character is loving, then there's the character that's just loving. Loving is what's happening. If the character is just doesn't want to be with anyone, then that's just also what's happening. There's nothing wrong or right about that. So the only thing that's ping-ponging here is that if I go deeper into this, will I be nothing? Well, there is no you to be nothing anyways. So there is almost like when that neurotic roller coaster is just seen as a neurotic roller coaster, then it's simply not riding it anymore. It's just what's happening, although there's no one in it. Does that make any sense? Although it doesn't.
What about this? What about, like, in that, is there a sense of how does it play with that line? There's nothing happening here. There's nothing happening.
That's just another statement. You know what I'm saying? That's just another idea. It's a simplification of something that cannot really be expressed. That's why nothing is happening. Is a simple, statement of something that cannot be stated, because there's really nothing happening. Not as an idea, not as a thought, but in the absence of that thinker, in the absence of the ideas of that thinker, in the absence of thoughts, it's just empty.
Do any thoughts come up about regrets of going into the depth of this realization that has happened there?
No.
No thoughts?
No. There's so much contentment here. There is a story, what I'm saying, of discontentment in spirituality and in practicing what is. There was a lot of suffering there. So there is a unique story here that this character was teaching. Was a spiritual teacher, was a deep seeker and everything. But there's also an is-ness that, that was just, it's also what is. So all it can basically say is that what this is the contentment of whatever it is. It doesn't have to be this or that. It's always this.
Yeah.
I was afraid too in the story. I was afraid of this too. There was a lot of rejection. There was a lot, there was an anxiety about this, because I'm like, if I look into the abyss, will the abyss look back and see that it's nothing? Well, it's already nothing. You don't have to look into abyss. This is already the abyss. This is already the unfathomable depth of something that cannot be located. This is locationless. This is the non-separation. The seeming, quest for either avoiding this or accepting it is just that seesaw of the same plank.
Mm-hmm.
It's just what is. So the futility of that personal search, the I am, the awareness, the consciousness, is the breaking apart of that cyclical pattern of seeking but not finding, seeking but not finding. So you can also say that the cyclical pattern of suffering, ending suffering, is just seen as a seesaw. But there's not even a seesaw there. It's just a sea.
Okay. Then I got another question. I don't know if you can contextualize this, because I think somebody's saying something. The body, mind, organization. I disappeared. Anyway, here's a question then.
Yeah.
Because most of this has been informed by Rupert Spira, Muji, and Eckhart Tolle.
Yeah.
And they come at this quite differently than you do. And I'm wondering if you could give a discernment between, because they're all kind of the same. It's all there. We can classify them together. How would you discern the way you're sharing this from those? Or you can choose one of them, or just talk about all three of them, because they're all the same.
I'll talk about all of them. Again, there's nothing wrong or right about what's being expressed here, but that 10 years, I was into them.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I can really say. That the 10 years that I was seeking was with them. So it's just going in this cyclical pattern. Again, there's nothing wrong or right about, seeking and going on a cyclical pattern, when there is a seeming master or someone that has mastery of what this is, there's a following. But the following is like that never-ending rotunda, that merry-go-round that just keeps on going and going and going. So you're following something that is just going in circles. Because what I was mentioning, right? Anything that is done with the mind is to maintain the mind. Everything that is inquiring is just inquiring. It's just a maintenance of the self. Self-inquiry is just a maintenance of the self. There's going to be a sense of discontent and the need for something to happen. And that's what's usually with those teachings, that there is a something to happen. There is an enlightenment that's made real. There's a radical shift in perception that occurred. So this is the blowing up of all of that and saying that it's pointless, it's hopeless, because it's already the case, that there's nothing that's needed. It is already. So it's a departure, a seeming departure from the narrative of seeking. The idea of enlightenment, awakening, or awareness is a dangled carrot that I used to follow for 10 years. So when there was a clearing of that, you're like, oh, there's no carrot. Oh, there's no awareness. Oh, there's no self. Oh, there's no source. Then there's this walking free from that and never looking back again. I don't know if that makes sense.
What do you say? What do you say that that's where they ultimately point, and that's where they reside? That everything is this. There is no separation. What I am is what everything is.
But to get there, you have to use the mind. You have to use the inquiry. You have to listen to someone. You have to listen to authority. It's either inner authority or outer authority. So
Who's
when
they?
the authority,
Who's they?
yeah. So when the authority crumbles, when it becomes decentralized, when there's no more hierarchy, when all the pedestals are broken, right? Then there's this anarchy. There's this freedom that already is. It appears in everything, not in practices, not in self-inquiry, not in consciousness or awareness, or a purification or an understanding. There's no more correction. So there's non-duality. There's no separation anymore. Seemingly, these suggestions of non-duality, again, there's nothing wrong or right. Much respect, what I'm saying, but for no one. There's this swirling around of these ideas of non-separation, and it's basically the understanding, the realization. The moment that there is a thought about separation or non-separation, that's dualistic. The moment that there is an understanding or a philosophication, I can't see it, when it becomes a philosophy, when it becomes a contemplation, right? When there's an emphasis, when there's a position, when there's an authority, when what's being expressed is this already unconditional is-ness. There's no authority figure. This was not learned from somebody. It's just what is. This is actually the unlearning, the unknowing of everything that was previously known. I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, it's a beautiful answer. I know you will probably, next time I might have more on this, and I'd love to talk with you more about it. And thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it, Emerson.
Oh, thank you. There is a couple here, and I'll get to you, Casey. There is, there's a lot of message here. Sid, the body, mind, organism will retain its natural needs like hunger, need for a mate. So relating may appear not held as a concept of relationship anymore, but it's only the separate self that thinks without it, everything will fall apart. All relating, earning money, believe it is running the whole show. Yes, thank you there, Daggy, for that. Sequoia goes, amen, Emerson, hallelujah, says Mats. And Leela goes, narrative of enlightenment. Narrative of enlightenment, a dangled carrot, levels of enlightenment, fundamental well-being, fetters. Chasing these carrots is a like a donkey with blinders on on an endless treadmill, and apparently so hard to let go of. Yes. Beautiful. That's a beautiful description of it, Leela. That's what it was when I saw that I was just an ass chasing carrot. And it was just that. It was just, there was always something that was lacking. There was always something that is missing. There was always something that that was wrong. And the seeming, search for that correction or the longing for that perfection, it's just a result of this, almost like a programming of something to get, something to do, something to attain. It was always something. And then the deification, although there's no one doing it, it's just innocence playing as that. There's this seeming kind of like a pageantry that appears of something that knows and something that needs to know. So there's this scale of something that is more like levels. So what's being expressed here is that the clarity here is everywhere, but it's not my clarity. It's not a personal clarity. It's just clarity. The clarity that is the emptiness, that is the wordless, let's just say wordless, is also wordless there. It is already the case. Hang on for 1 minute. I'm just going to put some eye drops because my eyes are, just a second.
What do you need to see?
How do they say that? The cat is out of the house or whatever. We can do all the things now. No one is watching. No? Okay.
When the cat's away, the mice will
Yeah,
play.
yeah, that's what I mean. Like, no, Emerson, so we can do like whatever. Dirty talk.
Well, Casey's behaving. I'm so surprised.
Is that Casey's behaving? That's the surprise?
Yeah.
Yeah,
when
that's
Kathy,
Casey's there, actually. He
don't
wasn't there on
start.
Friday, but yeah.
Troublemaker.
Yeah, good boy, Casey.
You said you behaved today.
You're behaving today,
The cat
good
is
boy.
back. Okay.
Okay, meow, meow.
Oh my gosh. Kathy
right.
started it. It's her fault.
Oh no.
When I was a teacher, the same thing would happen. I'd leave the classroom, come back in, and the kids would like rush back to their desks.
Yes. She's here.
There's a couple of questions here. What are relationships? Why does it appear to happen? It's just what is. It's a beautiful play of separateness, although there's nothing separate. When it's seen that there's really no relationship, it's just a play. Then there's this fullness. There's this, it's going to sound weird, but there's desirelessness that actually is a contention of seemingly having a relationship or no relationship is just seen as equally the same. So there's just this, I guess you can call it unconditional love for no one. And Leela goes, take it from one who knows 50 years of seeking, but there's no time. Yes, the seeking journey is quite fascinating, right? It's like one of those really awesome talks that you talk about in a bonfire. You're like, when I was seeking, so this is like one of those, like, people just hang around a bonfire and just talking about what seemed to be like ghost stories. How horrific was your seeking? Although it's just a funny thought right now, that seeking journey. So this is the end of that neurosis, right? The openness of just what is. So there's this seeming enjoyment of what is, because it does not want what is to be what isn't. It's just what is. So whatever appears is just what is. So when there's just this relaxation, like a retirement of trying to find the next now, the next level, and also the relief from having all of this, figures that seem to be unattainable, right? That idea of someone that is superior, or the idea that someone has got this, it just vanishes like a vapor. Or like, oh, okay, I believe that someone got this. But when it's seen that no one's got this, then everything is equally innocent. No one is the holder of the key, because there's no door. There's no locked doors. Everything is already wide open. Ta-da! It's always this. New reality show, Real Seekers on the Endless Circuit. Great analogy, ghost stories around the fire, seeking stories. Yeah, thank you. Are you going to produce it, Leela? We'll cast it. The reality show about real seekers. The only ones that seem to get enlightened around the teachers are the hot young girls and the toadies. No comment. Freedom can only be shared through friendship. Oh, sorry, just a second. Daggy, no guru disciple thing. Yeah, it's the end of the guru. It's the end of the guru era. In that era, when there was this guru hunting, it's like you're auditioning for a guru. You're auditioning for enlightenment. But when it's seen that there's no caste, there are really no players. Then everything is already. At least as much drama as the Real Housewives, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Hooray! Oh, my eyes are getting better. You can see it. Yay!
Emerson.
Hi.
Hi.
Is it iPhone?
No. Yeah.
Hi, iPhone.
What?
Hello, iPhone.
iPhone, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I still got to return this because I can't put pictures on. I can't do anything. It's only about 4 inches high.
Oh,
It's
wow.
a mini. It's a mini phone.
The mini iPhone.
The mini iPhone. It's a waste of money, let me tell you. And the freaking Wi-Fi never works. Never. Anyhow, no, when you were talking to Sid, I am, or whatever. It was, there are, what happens is though, for the person, I know there's no person, but there's apparent choices in this illusory world. I mean, if there weren't apparent choices that you were making,
see, that's the illusion.
Not you,
not
but
illusion,
they're being made continuously throughout the day. I would just be laying on the couch and never move ever, right?
See, the illusion
there's apparent choices all the time.
So the illusion that there's apparent choices, and the illusion that choice is real. So since there's no one doing
right,
it,
that I'm
just
doing
an appearance. Yeah,
that I made
so
it.
the idea
right.
that you can just lay
but
around
I'm saying,
is basically saying that you have a choice.
Right.
Yeah, but the illusion
saying that I would lay
no...
around, that I did have a choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm saying what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to express here
okay.
is you know, you made the choice to turn the fucking computer on tonight or to this afternoon,
No,
whatever.
that's your thought about it.
Oh, you didn't do it. It's apparent. There's an apparency out there. I mean, you know, don't deny
it's the same. It's
appearing,
the same.
the apparent.
We doubt the thought that
There's
does
an
anyone do anything?
apparency.
Okay.
Don't think I'm doing it. But it's going on all the time. It's just movement. It's going. You know, you think you know, you can say I'm making the choice. You're not making the choice. It's being made. It's just going. It's already done. But it's, you know, you just can't say to someone, there's apparency.
But let me ask this question.
Apparency.
Right? Outside of a thought, is there anything even apparent, or is there anything even going?
Well,
again,
you
I'll
know,
repeat. Outside of a thought, is there
you know,
even
yeah, there's
reality?
nothing really going, but like
Yeah.
right now I have to go to the bathroom. Do you understand? Oh my God, I can't stop laughing at this. You know, yeah, sure, it's just this ding, you know, blip, blum, whatever word you want to use.
But again,
Boom.
there's this.
That's your
There's
word.
a taking literally of what's being said here. Again, in the introduction, what's being said here is not really being addressed to anyone. It's just the clarity that what seems to be appearing in the absence of word is already what is. So outside of thought, again, does anyone ever choose? If there are no words, is there even anything happening? If there was a collapse of all of these ideas and thoughts and you and I and everything, is there even anything?
No, of course.
There you go.
It's not, but in the apparency, you're using words non-stop. The words in the apparency, words have to be used. You can't walk
really
into your boss and just start gesturing. Things happen. It's moving. It's not your movement.
Again,
but there's movement.
I don't think what's being expressed here is being heard, although it doesn't have to be heard. Again, if there are no thoughts, what is happening?
Yeah, nothing is happening. Oh, I understand. There's nothing happening. There's no me. There's no you.
No, but
this
that
you're using there's
thought
no
right
time.
now again. See, that's what I'm saying. If there are no thoughts, what can you say? That's coming into a conclusion that nothing is happening. That's just another thought, isn't it?
Right. Yeah. Of course, it's another thought. Of course, it's another thought. And the thought, too, is recognition. You know, there's some recognition. There's a recognition. Otherwise, you wouldn't be sitting there.
But that's
whatever
just
you're doing
thought.
every Friday,
that's just a thought. Again,
Sunday.
outside of thoughts, do you really know what's going on? So there's just a writing of thoughts.
Outside of thoughts, but I'm saying I'm saying in the apparent illusion that you.
But that's a
that
thought.
There's a functioning.
Even you saying an apparent illusion is a thought.
Yeah.
So what's the problem?
Yeah, and there's words too. You say to me, even your thought is an apparent. Is a thought, is an apparent, whatever. It's still your words too. There's wording.
But whose thought is that coming from then? Again, outside of thought.
I bet everybody that's sitting, I bet all 50 people sitting at your meeting.
That's your thought again.
It's wording.
Yeah, it's just thought. You're just coming up with more thoughts. It's really pointless.
Like somebody else is seeing the wording too.
Again, it's just thoughts.
You know.
Yeah.
It is
trying
just
to reconcile
thoughts.
something that cannot be reconciled.
I'm not trying to say it's not a thought. I'm trying to say the wording and the thoughts in the apparent illusion. Do you understand? Right?
I don't know.
Kathy, that's also a word and a thought. The point is that you can't say anything without it being a word and a thought.
Yeah.
It's always that. There's nothing you can say that won't be that.
You can't, but I'm saying in the apparent reality, when I have to go up the street later and sit down with, you know, a friend, can't just, that's a thought, nothing, you know, wording occurs in the apparent reality. Come on.
That's a circular thing that
There,
you're
it
going,
is just a
right?
thought
Yeah,
upon a thought, and it is
yeah,
just a blip. There's no time.
yeah. So
Yeah,
it's
but
seen if it's just a
you
thought and it's
know,
so
word.
pointless. So what's even the point of trying to figure out the thought?
Well, I just, you know, I'm dovetailing off what Sid was trying to say. You know, how does he tell somebody something about not being able to make a choice? There's a parent choice.
As a
Am I going to
thought,
have
yeah. As a thought,
steak or
if
chicken?
outside of a thought, would there be even a parent choice? That's just a thought.
No, of
A
course
choice is just a
not.
thought.
No.
Yeah,
But in the apparent world is functioning with a
that's just another
word,
thought.
a
See, all you're
wording, a
coming up
thought.
with is just another thought, another thought, another thought, another thought. And it's just going to be endless. We can spend hours here. You'll come up with a thought, you'll come up, and it's just to support a thought that what you thought is true.
Natalie, who I saw online a little while ago, she's driving her car. Do you think she's going to just freaking just drive to
See,
California? No, there's
my point again,
a
you're just
wording,
coming
a
up with
thought.
more
You look at your
thoughts.
Google map.
It doesn't matter, or
I
you're saying it's
know there are
just
more
all
thoughts, but I'm
thoughts,
trying to say in the apparent reality where you
which
have to
is a
drive your
thought.
freaking
An
car
apparent
and go to work.
reality is a thought, and it's just what is. But you can't seem to let go of this thought
Okay.
of what apparent reality is to
You can't seem to, you can't seem to like
It's really clear.
whatever
There's no
either,
point.
because
Yeah. There's nothing really
you
to
know,
talk
yeah, there's
about.
no point, but no point, because it's an illusion anyway, and there's nobody
Yeah.
here, but you know, you know, anyway, okay. Ciao,
Ciao.
Bella.
It's all what is. Thank you, Natalie.
So Emerson,
Hi.
nothing, this apparent nothing can be understood. This
It cannot be
isness
understood,
cannot
right?
be understood with the mind, correct?
No, yeah, because trying to understand it, it just reinforces that there is a mind. Trying to get it, reinforce it that there's something to get. So inquiring about it, there's this, what seemingly appears in these meetings, that there's a seeming kind of like understanding there's a self that needs to be getting rid of. There seems to be a realization that there's no self. But any inquiry or kind of like going around in thoughts about what a self is just perpetuates it. It just reinforces it. So that's why this meeting is completely pointless, because it does not lead to anything. It does not appear as a help, but it's a clarification that there's nothing needed.
But something seems to be energetically transmitted somehow, but that's
just
it.
another thought again, right? That's just
That
another
is a
thought again.
well,
That's just another idea. So in the absence of ideas, everything is already perfection, without the idea of what perfection is. Everything that is, you know, seemingly lacking in the absence of thoughts or ideas is already complete, meaning that there's nothing needed. But the thought process, you know, I'm saying that circling of coming up with this, trying to figure out this will never get anywhere.
right.
And that's what was being expressed earlier, that it's because it's
Right.
already the case. So it doesn't matter what is said or what position is made or any conclusion or any kind of ideas. They're just thoughts. They're just circling vultures of the dead. There's no self. It's dead. Hey, Leela. Hi.
That was a great interaction between you and was it Kathy and iPhone?
iPhone, yeah.
Circling vultures of the dead. I'm just going to throw in my 2 cents in this story. on the AI that we all think we are.
Yeah.
Since this character enjoys the religion of neuroscience, it is the the brain, quote unquote, the thought machine, that makes sense of things, and so little of it is actually dedicated to thought. It's 5 million bytes of information come in and get
5
narrowed
million
down
bytes?
to 16 or something, and that is what the thought of an object out there is, the illusion that creates the illusion. So actually what's going on is so much vaster that thought is not what's going on. And so I saw a video of Angelo. Someone asked him a question yesterday, DeLillo, and said, what's the one sentence answer to how to wake up? And his answer was, don't believe anything you think. Don't believe thought. And that's it. And so this morning, what I'm throwing in, I'm going to read a paragraph from Byron Katie, like right after she woke up. She was walking around trying to talk to people, and they thought she was a lunatic. And she said, I learned that if I didn't speak, what came through was what I call the cleanse. It purified itself from any teaching. The cleanse looked like tears and humility and death, the death of the personality, the death of any self that might remain. I could see that anytime I spoke when someone hadn't asked, I was met with confusion. People would look at me, their eyes would reflect back a crazy woman. That was okay with me, but there was no value in speaking that way, except in learning to experience the truth from within and not speak to myself on the outside. I had such a hunger to burn up whatever thoughts arose in my mind that whenever a physical reaction came through me, I let it come. I would shake or burst into tears or laughter or express whatever need to be expressed. There were tears and laughter of someone who was intoxicated with love. I was like a very young child, totally uninhibited. It didn't matter if the reaction occurred in a mall or a supermarket or when I was walking down the street. I would just stand and drop to the sidewalk and let the emotion have its way. People were always kind. They would stop and say things like, do you need a tissue? Is there someone I can call for you? Can I take you somewhere? That's how I met the world. It was tender, it was sensitive. People were all pieces of me when I was in public. I experienced the whole of it, the unraveling of it, the knots. It's just such a beautiful, I just love it. Anyway, it's not a teaching, it's just an experience, but I wanted to share that.
It is. Thank you for sharing that. There was, you know, my cockroaches story.
Yeah, you waited for the cockroach.
Where are the cockroaches? See,
you could have bought some and put them right on your foot.
There's nothing wrong with that, but it's waiting for that thought to happen, something like that, right? When this is already the case, it doesn't have to appear, you know, like that bewilderment in the wonderland and everything, right? In the story, usually,
Sorry, go on.
In the story, I guess it's just everything is a story. So that's it too. Cool.
Right.
Yeah.
I just enjoy. I'm not looking for the cockroach anymore.
Yeah.
But I enjoy people's wordless descriptions of wordlessness.
Oh, I know you do. Yeah, it's beautiful, huh? Especially when there's just this.
Well, you call it the wow.
Yeah, wow.
I've seen you walk around like that.
Yeah.
People think you're crazy too.
I do. Oh, you know what? I went out with someone to eat, and I don't know, for some reason I was just describing what I was in here. Like, Emerson, are you in a trance? I'm like, oh, it's just food. I'm like, the deliciousness of this simplicity of this thing. I was like, it, especially food. You know, when put me in front of food, and I'll describe it as if I'm in love with it. Because I am.
It's an intimate experience.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, food. We've never met this way before.
Who needs relationship when you have food?
That's right. Well, thank you, Leela. Thank you so much, everyone. I need to take a pill. Should I take another pill? Seems like my throat is closing. Do you have any advice? Leela?
Yeah.
If your throat is closing, definitely take a pill.
Benadryl.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm going to take a pill.
Take a pill.
Allergy is happening. Thank
Much
you.
love, man.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to take a
you.
pill. I'll
Feel
be right back.
better.
Okay.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Emerson.
Thank you. Thank you, iPhone. Thank you, everyone. Love you guys.
Thank you.
Feel better.
Emerson.
I will.